And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of Outdoor Journal Radio.
Well, hello there. Welcome to the program. I'm Angelo Viola. He is Peter Bowman, Vova, Dean. Everybody's here, almost.
Come on now.
Missing a member or two, but we'll work with what God gave us. How's that?
Certainly.
Welcome to the program. A great show today. We've been anticipating this one for a couple of weeks when we first heard they were going to be on. A couple of young men. I guess they'd be young men compared to us. I can call them young men.
Dude,
They're young to somebody.
50-year-olds are young men compared to
true.
us.
That's true, too. That's disappointing.
I know. It's kind of discouraging, isn't it?
Anyways, Jesse and Andrew, do they have a last name, Dean, or are we just calling them Jesse?
I have their last names, but I don't know if they've publicized them, so I didn't want to. What do they call that?
They might be
doxing.
wanted. They might be
They're
wanted.
on the criminal...
America's Most Wanted.
Where they're protecting them. What do you call that?
The witness protection
Witness
program.
protection. Maybe they're under witness protection plan.
Yeah.
Jesse and Andrew are called the Average Ontario Anglers.
Give me a hell yeah!
Yeah, they have a wonderful podcast that's really getting out there and reaching some big
getting
numbers.
some good numbers for sure.
So,
right? Yeah.
Well, they got good numbers if they're on the Outdoor Journal Radio. So fun there. Thank you. A little late, but that's
It
okay.
takes me a while to find them.
Can you tell me why we don't have that box here and you and I press those numbers?
Come on now.
I don't think we have the responsibility, to be honest.
We're not
with you.
responsible enough.
Okay, we are maybe. I am not.
Oh, okay.
You might be. I am not responsible enough. This is not bullshit, Jim. I am irresponsible at everything, okay? And I claim it. I got no problem with that.
Anyways, we're looking forward to talking to them. Great guys, some wonderful stories, great podcasts. And we just wanted to introduce you to them here a little later on in the program.
Yeah.
In the meantime, fishingcanada.com is giving away all kinds of goodies. And if you are not participating, you ain't getting it. You ain't getting none.
Ain't getting it.
You ain't getting any.
Come on now.
Sounds familiar.
Oh, yeah?
Thank you.
I love the delay. That's the best,
Yeah.
Dino. That's awesome, buddy. He's waiting for it. It ain't coming. I love it.
Ain't getting none.
Oh, God.
So get on over there and participate. I believe we're giving away some Garmin product today.
I love Garmin product.
That stuff. But every day is Christmas on the Fishing Canada contest page, which you can access through fishingcanada.com, among other vehicles that you can use. But make sure you get in. And often, don't be embarrassed. Don't say, well, I got 32 entries already today. No, don't be happy with that. Get more.
33. It's a good number to go for a day,
While you're there, you might also want to drop into the store, have a look at Fishing Canada swag, which is on display as we speak. And new items are being added to that array.
Anything of noteworthy that's coming out? You got anything
the
in your
latest
head there?
things that have come out are the silk screened garments. Like that and like this.
Come on
right?
now.
We have the embroidery stuff, which is absolutely breathtaking because this Fishing Canada logo takes 10,000 stitches to embroider.
10,000 by
10,000 stitches. Can you imagine?
How do you know that?
Because I know. I make it my business to know.
What if the logo is small like that? Still 10,000?
That's about 3,500. What you just showed right there.
Okay.
Yep.
What about the Outdoor Journal logo?
That one is insane, by the way. I had a count on that. I'm not kidding you. I think it's like 14.7 or something. Almost 15,000 stitches for that one.
Oh my!
Very intricate work. But anyways, and of course, when you have that quality of embroidery work on a quality garment, it costs a little more money.
It's gonna cost you.
So we listened to the folks. Folks were saying we'd love to carry the brand and we'd love to wave the flag, but man, that sure is expensive. And so we introduced the screened product, which is every bit as wonderful to wear, high quality garments, but instead of that expensive embroidery, it's a nice silk screen. which is still very, very.
Well, I mean,
you look very handsome in that.
Thank you. How come mine's much brighter?
Do you know why?
Brand new.
This is
It's an oldie.
This is a 5-year-old version of that. So this is what it looks like 5 years
After
later.
it still holds up quite well.
Not bad at all. There you go.
I like mine a little better. I like that red.
Well, I couldn't afford a new one, and so I opted to wear my old one for you.
Okay.
But I have something special in the back of mine.
It says Peckerhead.
You could only dream. You could only dream, my friend.
Crew.
You're so
I am
crude.
I am crew.
You're so crude. Red hits 3 million, Dino.
What?
Give me a hell yeah!
Red hits 3 million views. So I'm going to assume, because this is highlighted the way that it's highlighted, I'm assuming this is the first piece that we've had
There's
that
big
hit
red
3
right there.
million.
Look at big
No.
red.
It's
We
not-
put out a bass video that Flaro sent us with the big tumor on it.
Yes.
Another Duma.
That was like insane. I don't even remember how many views, but it was.
Oh, really?
It
More
was,
than 3 million?
It was like 29 million or something.
Oh,
crazy.
my God.
Well, don't tell Flaro that. It'll be
No.
right. He'll have a tumor in his
He
head.
doesn't
His
listen to
brain will
this,
look
we
just
know
like that
that.
tumor.
That's not very funny.
I know. You didn't laugh. I know.
Anyways, Red hits 3 million views. This is a how to fillet a pike video.
Look at the image, the beautiful.
on the Fishing
Look at that.
Canada Instagram.
Look at that job he does. Like, that's insane how nice that is and how fast he does it.
Yeah.
And
He
if
did
you
that-
want to see it,
did that on the dock.
He did in the dock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unreal.
Yeah, he might be the best I've ever seen. So,
God.
and that's why it's getting such great
And
traction.
he complained about the knife not being sharp enough.
Yeah.
He said, I can do it in 3
Yeah.
cuts if the knife was sharper.
Anyways, check it out. How do they check it out, Dean? Like, we're saying check it out. How do they get it?
I think we should probably put it back to the top of our feed or something because it's
think we
we
should.
posted on
Started
Instagram
up,
about
yeah.
a month ago, so it's kind of tucked away.
Do you lose all your views when you do that? Do you lose?
No, I think we can pin it or something.
Oh, yeah, you can pin it. You're right.
Yeah, we need to do that
Yes, we should do
because it
is
needs to
pin
be
it.
more
Now-
findable.
Yeah, because it's getting viewed
So-
by shares alone, right? Right now, it's just getting viewed by shares because people aren't seeing it now on our feed. So, but that's how viral this stuff gets through shares and comments. Instagram sees these shares and they keep throwing it up there and throwing it up there, and everybody says, "Ooh, look at this! Hey, I like this." Or we got some negative, we got some good positive comments, but there's
We got negative?
Oh yeah.
About what?
Yeah, there's guys that are saying he's still wasting meat. I can make soup out of the stuff that he's throwing away. And
No.
stuff. Oh God, buddy, I'm telling you.
No,
it's bringing
say it ain't so.
I'm saying it is so. There's so much of that crap that goes on there. You know. It's just.
Oh,
I
my
like the
God.
5 fillet piece method better, or whatever it is. So good for you. But Red did a damn good job of that, and
I can't believe that.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Some people are actually surprised that people eat pike.
Yeah, well, there
Yeah,
you
there's
go.
a lot of people commenting on that.
Yeah. These people that have probably, I would assume, never have eaten pike, because if they have, if they spent the day with us at that shore lunch, that red filleted,
Oh,
boneless
that was wonderful.
fillets, because other ones are saying there's still bones in it too. There's other guys that are saying there's no bones in it. So no, there was no bones in it, and it was the most beautiful tasting fish that we have had probably all year, and it was pike, in cold water. So
I dare say
don't you dare.
that when all the smoke is cleared and the dust is settled, pike may be the best freshwater fish to eat. I don't mind saying that. And I'll tell you why when I say all the dust is cleared and dust is settled. Yes, obviously perch are high on that list. Crappie are high on that list. In fact, most panfish are high on that list. Walleye, of course, are high on that list. But if you look at the amount of protein that you get from a pike and the amount of work, once you can do this, what this man does, the amount of work that it takes to clean it and prepare it versus perch, crappie, and other panfish, this hands down is the fish of choice for most sane people that eat freshwater fish, because they're readily available. You can catch them on a moment's notice pretty much in all of the freshwater fisheries. And one fish that you can take home does the trick for you.
Yeah.
Generally.
That's a good point. I mean,
Right?
I'd say walleye, because I've cleaned them both, and I can clean a walleye faster than a pike. So maybe
you,
the walleye. Right.
That's you, but not red.
Right. I'll bet your red can clean a walleye faster than a pike. I'll bet you.
Probably.
It's them wide bones that slowed them down a little wee bit.
I think they're wonderful.
I kept a pike last time out, probably a 5 to 6 pounder, and Angie's right. There's a lot of meat on a 5 to 6 pound pike. If you fillet it correctly, the red style, which is what I tried. I didn't do a perfect job of it, but still lots and lots of meat on that fish, on that fillet. So there's an excellent fish to eat if you just give it a try. I don't know about if we get them in the water. I've never tried it in water like 70-degree water temp or anything like that. No. So I don't know if the pike could be, if it's worse or better or not. I know walleye are still as good, but I don't know about pike. So.
But how often do you get walleye in 70-degree water? I'm not talking surface. Yeah, but it's not 70 degree down. This is 70 degrees up here.
Yeah, but in the summer you get those 8-foot deep walleye. Like they're only on an 8-foot weed line. That water's pretty much the same-ish, you know. So.
By the way, is there any reason why every human being listening to this right now can't do that?
Can't
a good knife.
The knife?
A good knife.
A good knife.
He was, but he was complaining that his knife was dull.
It was still pretty sharp, though.
Yeah,
he
it
said
didn't
wasn't
come
perfect.
out of a tackle box or anything like mine does.
Yeah.
With rust on it?
Yeah. Take a grinder to it to get the rust off and then sharpen it from there.
But if you watch this video a few times...
I'm going to put it here, actually. I'm going to play it right now.
Would you do that?
I'll play it right now.
Thank you.
Yep.
Perfect.
Here we go.
Here's Red doing his thing here for us. Belly strip off. Behind the head.
Okay.
Down the back. Okay. So you don't go right through. Eh?
Right there.
Right there. So you work around the rib cage and all that right now, right? You're staying on top of that.
That's right.
Okay. Oh my God. What the? Okay. Yeah. So are you going through wide bones right there?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, you're cutting through them sort of thing, and you'll remove them after, right? Sort of
That's
thing?
right.
Okay. Okay.
And now the wide bone is up top. First, take the rest of the ribs out.
Yeah.
I'm just following that.
You're following the Y bones, right?
Just following it. There's that.
Hang on the underside of the Y bones. This is the part that I was liking, that you left that piece in, the beat in. So your skin's still on, right? Yeah.
That's right.
Look at that. Oh my God. That is a perfect chunk of pike.
Boy, it makes it look easy, doesn't it?
Oh my God.
If the knife is sharp enough, which this one's not, you can do it really in 3 cuts.
I saw you all early this morning.
Hello there. How are you?
Long day.
It was a long day.
What did you catch? What are
Oh, some pike.
those? Pike.
Yeah. Now we're
That is
getting a lesson
wonderful,
on
right?
how to clean them properly.
This beautiful thing.
There we are.
Nicely done, buddy.
Beautiful.
See, the unique part of this one is right there. He's left that on. Most people don't even leave that on there. That's just perfect. And there's not a bone in there. Wonderful, Red. You the man, buddy.
Cheers, boys.
So there. So that's the way it's done.
And tell me you can't go back and watch that now on our Instagram, because I know Dean and I and Ange, we'll go back and forth. Dean and I have watched it 5 times this week again. We just keep looking at it. Every time I see it, if I see the picture of it, I see that fillets of how to fillet a pike there. I gotta watch it. I just have to watch Red in action. It's so good. He is so good at it,
and it makes me want to go out and catch a pike and eat it.
Yeah,
do it, fillet it and eat it.
Yeah,
it's tasty.
Right, Vova? Maybe not.
He'll do it later. He's busy right now. He's unpacking from his trip still. Unpacking all the goodies. Did he bring you anything back? Did
yes.
He bring you anything? Oh.
Lots of love.
Oh, okay.
Lots of love.
I didn't see
anything. And then speaking of
business.
Instagram, Vova's put up some beautiful Icelandic pictures so far. He was in Iceland as well. Is it Iceland? Yes. Nice. So he brought back those good memories that we can look at right now.
So speaking of eating fish, which we just were.
A lot about it. We were. Yes, indeed.
We'd also like to highlight a great podcast from one of our network podcasters, program called Eating Wild. We'd like to highlight an episode they have going on right now, episode 41. And the title is You Can't Eat Too Much Wild Fish.
Yeah, not can you, it's you can.
You can. They're saying you can. They had an incredible guest on that episode, Jason Doyon, who has been dealing with mercury poisoning. This is a wonderful story. I mean, wonderful in that the person is still alive with us talking about it. That's wonderful, number one. But wonderful in that it really opens your eyes. We all love to consume fish. Don't get me wrong, and I think we all still should. But there is too much of a good thing, and it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's meat or whether it's what's the non-meat stuff there? Tofu, soybean, you name it. You can eat too much of that stuff.
If you ate it every day, if you tried to live on it alone, yeah, you're probably right. I'd say so.
So if you listen to this episode with Jason Doyon, he'll tell you that he ate fish for the better part of 15 years. He ate 5 meals a week for 15 years.
Wow.
That's insane.
Walleye, right?
Yeah.
Walleye out of somewhere around Sault Ste. Marie.
Sault Ste. Marie.
Ontario or it doesn't matter?
Ontario, yeah.
Huh.
And he became ill. He had brain fog and muscle weakness were the first 2 symptoms, and eventually lost control of his legs, which is bizarre to think of. He is now recovering now that they've discovered what it was, because up until recently they had no idea what this poor man was going through. But it was a high level of mercury content in his body, and they're now saying that it was from the consumption of all of that walleye.
Yeah, he wouldn't get mercury from anywhere else, right? It had to be from the...
Well, mercury is a naturally occurring thing. See, that's the thing that people don't think. As soon as you hear mercury poisoning, you think, oh, well, yeah, that comes from contaminating our waters. Corporate, entities are to blame. They're poisoning us. Well, no, mercury is a naturally occurring byproduct of whatever is in our water beds.
Apparently what's bad is that if trees decompose too much. So I think that's what he was saying, that there was like a logging industry in the area. So much timber in the water. And he said that's why it was...
it's all natural.
Yeah, it's all natural.
Yeah, it's not man-made.
Timber in the water. Wow.
So anyways, you got to listen to this podcast, because if you're in an area where consuming large quantities of fish on a regular basis is part of your DNA, well, you need to listen to this guy.
Yeah. If you're one of those people that said, I can eat fish every day, you might not. You know what I mean?
It's a fascinating story, and it's happening right now on Eating Wild on the Outdoor Journal Radio Podcast Network. It's episode 41. You can eat too much wild fish is
Come on now.
And his name is Jason Doyon, the guest that was on there.
Wow, I feel bad for him. But I feel good for him that they found out.
Well, it took 15 years of in the making. No, that's a long time.
Yeah.
You eat a lot of fish. Walleye?
I don't know, not near enough.
Would you say you average over the course of a year? Would you average once a week?
No.
No, not even that much.
No. I love it, but no, I would say
I think I might.
Once a week.
Once a week. If you took the average of like,
yeah,
because sometimes I'll go a week and have it every day.
See, I never do that. I've never gone a whole week and had it every day. I've had leftovers the second day, maybe 2 days in a row, but I don't know.
Does this story bother you? Does it disturb you to think that maybe?
I think I would get my blood work done and check. When I was in Kenora guiding, I would eat our shore lunch every day, and the MNR came up to us probably 2 months in and said, she was talking to the guides and said, you guys got to like ease off. This is a bad area for it.
Really?
And I stopped. I ate like maybe one meal a week after that. I would just eat potatoes and stuff because she scared me right off it.
Yeah,
so
no
they
kidding.
knew.
They knew, yeah. And they were concerned with us because they came up and asked, like, how much are you eating? And I would eat like,
How long ago was this?
This was 4 years ago. Wow. In Kenora, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've heard of it.
It's crazy.
You know, with
Anyways, it's a bit alarming, and to arm yourself with the education that you need on this fact, you definitely need to listen to that podcast. It's one of I think the best podcasts of the year in our industry for sure. So it's a must listen. Go check it out. Called Eating Wild with Antonio and the crew, Daniel and Lewis.
CJ?
Yeah.
Siege.
Siege, who knows?
The Siege.
Drop Shot, no, that's him.
Nah, Drop Shot. Yeah, he's in there. He's in. You know, he gets in there quite a bit. That's good.
He does it.
Yeah.
In the news, speaking of fish.
How about a huge fish kill in Iowa? The Iowa Department of Natural Resources. This is a good one because Ange and I were talking about this. Ange and I and Dean were talking about this earlier, and we'll get to it in a second here. But there's 265,000 gallons of liquid nitrogen fertilizer that was discharged into a drainage ditch. Obviously, we think it'd be a mistake.
Can we stop for just a moment? Bring this into perspective, because like 265,000 gallons.
It's big. I would think that's big.
All right, so just a kind of, well, you would think like a tanker, right? You would think, okay, bring it into perspective for you and me. The tank that we had was 10,000 gallons.
Okay.
That was 10,000.
Was your aquarium, right?
Yes. This is 265,000. So it's not a tanker. It's not just a tanker.
So it'll be this entire room filled to the brim from front door to here, maybe? Yeah. Probably.
Yeah, it's got to be, man. That's a lot.
Like a Marineland tank or something.
Like one of those massive Marineland.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's mind-boggling.
Yeah, it dropped into, hopefully I'll say this properly, into the East Nishnobota River. Does that sound right? Nishnobota?
Nishnobota.
Anyways, there was 49, almost 50 miles of river was affected by it.
No kidding.
And apparently a valve was left open on a storage tank, above ground storage tank, for a full weekend. So somebody screwed up, and hopefully they lost their job now because of it, and then some.
So.
But the number of fish species, now this is, we don't know how they got these numbers because they're very exact. But let's just say the minnow species, minnow, shiners, dace, and chub, 707,871 of those were died.
How? How do you count that?
I don't know. I don't know if they do it.
750,000 minnows somebody counted. That's the part that blows my mind, just as badly as the death toll.
There's a few other significant numbers. Common carp, 9,255. Carp suckers, 14,500. Channel cats, 7,681. Wow. And the one that was the only good thing out of this, well, a largemouth bass, I'll just put that in there. Unfortunately, 69 of those died. Grass carp, over 6,654 were killed. So the total fish count was 749,242. Exactly.
750,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
So not good. So somebody screwed up severely on that one, or maybe it was sabotage. Who knows? If somebody could get at that, some kids or something. I don't know how you'd open a valve, but there has to be lots of safety measures not to open that valve, right? And,
I can't even.
And how to leave it open. You'd think with something, a liquid fertilizer like that, if the valve was open, there should be some, some kind of a.
Especially on a tank that big that holds 265,000.
And it goes into a drainage ditch. You think, that's okay. It's not, but drainage ditches go somewhere, folks. And with that much liquid, it's going to build momentum. It's going to go further and further and further. So.
Are there
Yeah,
more
I could.
details, Dean, on this story on fishingcanada.com?
Yeah, we'll have a whole article on there.
The whole article will be there, so you'll find out maybe some of those questions you just posed might be answered there. But regardless, that's a major disaster.
Wow.
Holy
Yeah.
mackerel. And I'm assuming that was just that 50-mile stretch of river. Holy.
Yeah, somehow they contained
and
it.
how do you
after that.
contain it?
Yeah, I don't know how they.
Well, it just happened. Like when we're recording this now, I think it was 2 days ago.
Oh.
So who knows?
So
yeah,
they
it
don't
might be
have
still
all the
going. Yeah,
answers.
that was
Yeah.
just the fish count then. Yeah. Yeah. How do you stop it? How do you stop that flowing? How do you stop liquid from flowing downstream in a river? Tough
That's
one.
a tough one. Anyways, go check it out. fishingcanada.com. The whole story. Check it out and let us know what you think.
Check it.
Check it. Our fan question of the week, before we have our special guests on, comes to us from Jason Ploger from Ontario. Ploger, is that correct?
I think that's right.
Ploger?
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully, Jason, we got that right.
Via
Ploger looks like that.
email. Via email. He sent an email to info@fishingcanada.com.
Yep.
But you can also go on Facebook and or Instagram.
Or YouTube, wherever you want to go.
Or YouTube.
Yeah, we like YouTube
regardless, I can tell you with total certainty, Dean will take each and every one, regardless of where it comes from. He will print them out, and then he'll put them in his 45-gallon drum, and then he'll select one at the end of each week that will be played here on the show.
It's a bunch of bullshit.
It is not about, you keep saying, I've seen you, I've spied you, I've looked at you when you weren't watching. I'm going to take pictures of that, and then we're going to post it on here.
You better be good at Photoshop AI, my friend.
It looks like a 45-gallon drum. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, Jason Ploger from Ontario, thank you, wants to know, what is the most out-of-place, unexpected fish that you've ever caught? An example of this would be like what happened to us this winter, catching a 5-pound smallmouth. Wow, that is insane in itself. That's a huge fish. While ice fishing for lake trout in 50 feet of water.
Wow.
That would be a bit of a shocker.
That would be. That would be very much a shocker.
Not that when you consider that, winter, and that's obviously smallmouth in that particular body of water. That's where they go in the wintertime to
Yeah. 50
overwinter.
feet, they must,
50 feet's deep.
It's deep for smallies even.
Yeah.
A lot of times they're over 50 feet, but they're not down 50 feet. I'm assuming with lake trout fishing, they were fishing probably closer to the bottom. Maybe not.
Maybe not. Maybe they were suspended. Doesn't really say. Regardless, a 5-pounder of smallmouth through the ice would be a bit of a shock, no matter what the conditions were.
For sure.
But especially in 50 feet when you're fishing for lake trout. He was probably using some big gaudy lake trout.
Yeah,
bait
big
too,
old
right?
white tube or something like that. And Smalley ate it.
So, anyways, the question is, what is the most out of place, unexpected fish that you've ever caught? Out of place, unexpected.
I caught what's called a fall fish one time fishing largemouth on Potash Lake in Ontario. And a fall fish is essentially, it just looks like a big chub minnow. It looks like a chub.
It's called a fall, F-A-L-L.
Fall fish, yeah.
Wow, I never even heard of it.
Yeah, and it was a foot, maybe a foot long. So the chub you get in the creek, and they get the mouth underneath there, and it looked exactly like that, And apparently, Potash Lake has a lot of them in it. And it hit a crankbait. I was fishing a crankbait in the shallow. Brought it in, and I thought, what the hell? It was with Keith Beasley. It was when Keith and I shot that show there, and we both, what is this? You got a sucker? I said, no, I think I got a dace or whatever, a chub. But so that'd be maybe the only. I can't think of anything else. I saw a koi fish once. I never caught it. I saw a koi fish in Halliburton Lake.
For me, I think 2 cases, both of them from the west coast of Canada, and both named after animals. One is I caught a wolf fish, which is a bizarre looking critter, but the real bizarre one is something called a rat fish that I caught off of a floating. We were shooting at a floating lodge. I think it was called North Pacific Springs years ago. So we're just floating out there, and I was fishing between meals and going to bed, fishing off the dock in really deep water, and caught this bizarre looking critter. And it was identified by the owner, co-owner of the lodge, our good friend Pete Maychuk.
Yeah.
God bless him.
Yes, sir.
And he said it was a ratfish. And look it up. It is the most bizarre looking thing you've ever seen, especially, I mean, it's one thing looking at it on YouTube or Google or whatever you're going to see it on. It's another thing when, you're at the end of your day and you pull this thing up and it's looking at you straight up with those gnarly teeth and it's chopping at you. It's the weirdest looking thing. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to cut my line. So
could you touch it? Did you?
Yeah, Pete picked it. I didn't touch it. No. But he knew how to pick it. But even for him, who was born and raised in that environment, I think at the time he said it was like the second or third time he'd even seen one.
Oh, wow.
So they're pretty rare because they live in incredibly deep water, and they normally don't come into those back fjord areas where we were.
Yeah.
So, and the wolffish, that one was just plain
I think
ugly.
I've seen those ones.
Oh
yeah,
my God!
That.
It's a cousin to a cod, a lingcod.
Oh, those things are nasty.
It's got like a lion's mane looking kind of
really?
head, and it is almost human.
So meaner looking than a lingcod? Like meaner looking?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
lingcods are mean looking.
Oh, they're
fish.
bad. But this has got a bit of a human face to it. Oh my!
Like those machacas. Remember those machacas we caught in Costa Rica?
They
had human teeth. They looked like they had dentures, like human dentures in a fish.
Well, didn't we take close-up pictures of their mouth, and you swear it was a human being?
I think so. It was hilarious.
Weird.
Oh God.
Anyways, that would be considered our strangest fish, I guess, that we've ever caught. The humble goldfish, everyone's favorite aquatic pet. It's small, easy to care for. What's there not to love?
Even the cat may be mesmerized by the color and movements of your aquarium friends. Goldfish are great at home, but don't let them loose.
Releasing goldfish or other domestic aquatic pets or plants into natural environments is harmful to both your pet and the planet.
Goldfish disrupt ecosystems by outcompeting native species for food and resources in degraded habitats. They contribute to algae blooms, they kill aquatic wildlife, and pass viruses and diseases contracted in aquariums to wild fish.
They could even live up to 40 years and grow as big as a football. Anglers, this is where you come in. If you find a goldfish at your local fishing spot, report it to the Invading Species Hotline or go online to eddmaps.com.
Remember to never dump your live bait into the water and risk spreading other aquatic invaders. Keep our lakes free from invaders and don't let them loose.
What brings people together more than fishing and hunting?
How about food?
I'm Chef Antonio Maleka, and I have spent years catering to the stars. Now, on Outdoor Journal Radio's Eatin' Wild podcast, Louise, Hookset, and I are bringing our expertise
and Rolodex to our real passion, the outdoors.
Each week, we're bringing you inside the boat, tree stand, or duck blind and giving you real advice that you can use to make the most out of your fish and game.
You're going to flip that duck breast over once you get a nice hard sear on that breast. You don't want to sear the actual meat.
And it's not just us chatting here. If you can name a celebrity, we've probably worked with them. And I think you might be surprised who likes to hunt and fish.
When Kit Harington asks me to prepare him sashimi with his bass, I couldn't say no.
So whatever Taylor Sheridan wanted, I made sure I had it.
Burgers, steak, anything off the barbecue. That's a true cowboy.
All Jeremy Renner wanted to have was lemon ginger shots all day.
Find Eating Wild now on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever else you get your podcasts.
All right, our special guests, as we mentioned at the top of the program, just two ordinary, regular, you might call them average dudes, kind of anglers.
Yeah. I like that. That's a good name.
Welcome to the program, Jesse and Andrew, hosts of Average Ontario Anglers. Welcome to the program, guys.
Thanks for having us. Yeah, it's awesome to be here.
Our pleasure. I love the name. Average. I mean, you can't get any more.
That's about as if you're saying, okay, what kind of fisherman are you to the out to the public? They say, oh, I'm an average angler. Right. I'm from Ontario by chance too. So
that's fine.
Yeah.
Bonus. That's a
good
bonus one. So just quickly, before we get into this, you have produced 52 episodes. It's mostly fishing facts, humor, and information that'll help you expand your fishing knowledge.
Hello. Can always use that.
We can always use that. From the GTA area, mostly focused on shore and small boat fishing. That kind of brings everybody into perspective on what you do.
See, and a lot of kayak stuff, right? You guys are kayak guys too, I'm assuming?
Yeah, so we mostly fish out of, like Andrew has a small tin boat, like a 14-footer, and I fish out of a flatback sports pal canoe. So that's mostly what we fish out of.
So there you go.
I love sports pal canoes.
The best.
I sold a ton of them. Did I sell you yours by any chance?
No.
All right.
That was a little bit after Barclays.
after your days.
How many you figure you sold of those things? Come on, let's give a...
God. Well, I can tell you that from about April, right about now, till mid to end of July, we were getting a tractor trailer load a week out of North Bay.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was a very popular.
And just selling
as you guys
them all.
know. Yeah.
Just like nothing.
Some got stolen, but we tried to sell them all.
I remember that. Remember we had to chain up all the canoes out in front of Barclays there, and we had to put all kinds of lock and key and get new fencing and guard dogs and everything. We had to get everything going on there. And what was the price back then? What do you remember?
Wow. That is I'm gonna
Jesse or
say,
Andrew who owns the canoe? Which one of you guys are?
Me, Jesse.
I'm going to say there were two pricing. Obviously, the square stern was more expensive, and I think there were two sizes, a 14 and a 16.
Mm-hmm.
But the price $649 kind of is ringing with me right now.
I don't even want to tell you what I paid for mine.
That's what I was going to ask, because it's a little more than that, right?
How much?
Yeah, so I bought mine about 3-4 years ago. I bought the 14-foot full transom, and I think it was about $1,500 brand new.
15.
Wow.
Well, you know what? That makes sense if you think
a long time ago.
Pricing from then to now and various things. You know,
and they're obviously still aluminum, right? It's still an aluminum canoe. Yeah.
Yeah, they're great boats. Me and Andrew, we do everything out of it. We'll go fishing for salmon in the harbors. We'll both stand and musky fish out of them. They're
out of the
insanely
sports
stable boats.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're stable. First of all, I want to correct you.
Sorry.
They were never aluminum.
Oh.
They were never aluminum.
Are they metal of some type?
They're metal. They called them tin, but not sure exactly what that relates to. Because we also sold Grummans, which were aluminum. And
they fought
that's a hybrid. Those are extremely
tinner. So that's a real tinner.
Yeah, it's a real tinner.
A true tinner.
Yeah. Anyways, enough of that. See what happens here on this show.
Yep.
Well, you guys know. Anyways, I don't need to tell you. So tell us a little bit about yourselves. First of all, how did you get into podcasting?
Go ahead, Andrew.
Well, it's funny because when Jesse and we've been fishing for years. We grew up together. We fished, since we were little kids, and we used to film ourselves on this old digital camera. And we'd laugh at our own videos, and we thought, hey, if we laugh at ourselves, maybe other people will too. And it kind of like we joked around with the idea of like, man, we should have a podcast, on these 2-hour drives and drive up to a lake and record ourselves and post it. And we never did. And then eventually just kind of lined up. We had a couple people say, hey, we'd love to hear a podcast. And we're like, hey, you know what? We're thinking of doing that. So we wanted to do it right. We got all set up. We got the equipment for it. We wanted to have the quality right off the get-go, and it skyrocketed from there, like way beyond our, not skyrocketed. I mean, we're average, but
that's right. Don't ever forget that.
No, you guys,
it grew a lot faster than we had anticipated.
Yeah, sure. You guys are doing well. We watched the outdoor charts there last week or whatever. You were 4th on the outdoor and the wilderness charts. Nice. Apple, was it, Dean? Is it Apple? Yeah. So, you know what? That's better than average. I'm going to say that right now. You're doing well. You're doing a good job.
Whatever it is, keep doing it.
Yeah.
Obviously it's working. So you put out a show a week?
Yep. Yeah. Every single week for the last, what is it, a year and 4 months-ish? Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah, it's been a grind for sure, but we just found that there are a few fishing podcasts in Ontario. Obviously, you guys have one, but there isn't a lot of them. So we were like, You know what? There's a niche that we could fill with talking just to average people, like the average Joe that work during the week and only get out on the weekend. And we're like, you know what? That's us. So why don't we talk about our experience? And again, like Andrew said, the the amount of people that were messaging us saying that they absolutely loved it, or it was super relatable for them, it was fantastic. So it kind of fueled us on to keep going, and we've been able to do it every single week, and had a lot of, good opportunities to meet new people in the industry, and have people on our podcast as well as be on this podcast, which was actually a funny story. When we started this podcast, Andrew's like, you know what? I know we're going to do a good job, but my goal is like, if we can ever get on the Fishing Canada Show podcast, he's like, I could literally just stop after that. It would be fantastic.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
so we made it. I think this might be our last podcast.
That's it. Hang them up, boys. That's awesome.
It was a year to the day when we were in talks with Dean about,
oh, really?
Coming onto the podcast. It was a year to the day from our first episode, because I had that conversation with Jesse the first time we ever recorded an episode together.
What are you saying? Dean's a little tough to deal with? What is that? Is that what I'm hearing here?
In a year, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
So in 1 year, we met our, I went what I thought was a supremely far-fetched goal. It blows my mind.
There you go, boys. Do you guys record at night? Like, do you have daytime jobs and do you record at night? How do you do your podcast setup?
Yeah. So Andrew is a full-time plumber, and I work full-time too. I'm a handyman. So we literally have to do it after work in the evening. So, some weeks it's a grind to get through, and, we have other responsibilities as well, but we do enjoy doing it, and we have fun doing it. I said to Andrew, like, we'll stop doing this when it's not fun anymore.
Yeah.
But we have fun doing it. It's fantastic. And, the interaction that we get from the listeners, it's insane. The feedback that we're getting. So just it spurs us on to continue doing it and helping people learn to fish better, or just be entertaining as well. So
cool. It sounds like our plumbing woes are behind us now.
Hey,
we're always
we
saying,
got a new
does
plumber.
anybody know a plumber? Can somebody get a plumber? Now we
Hence
know.
the hint earlier about a plumber walking in. Now we're starting to get everything. It's starting to roll. Okay, we got it.
If you ever clogged your toilet, you knew who to call.
Exactly.
I can just hear it now. Oh God, I got to unclog the shit out of the Fishing Canada toilet. How awesome was that?
Half the time I'm the guy that plugs them. So
Exactly. Good stuff.
God.
Where are you? What's your intention? Where do you want to take this? Do you want to take the show? Do you want to make a career out of doing this podcast, your podcast?
It's something that we had a lot of discussions even recently about where we want to go with it. And from the get-go, it was kind of, we wanted to have it open doors for us and be able to hopefully support our hobby. Like fishing as a hobby can get very expensive, depending on how far you want to go with it. But we figured if we can have the opportunities to maybe fish places we've never fished before, fish with people that we've never been able to or never have the chance to, and we've been able to go to some trade shows recently and in the past years with our social media and whatnot, and talk to some of the guys that you'd never meet otherwise. And the amount of information that we've learned from it has been awesome. And we kind of just want to continue, if it can subsidize some of our income, that's great. But it's really about like opening those doors.
That sounds like the early 80s for me.
Yeah.
Late 70s, early 80s, right there.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
I might have used those exact same words.
Hey, see, boys, it can happen. It can work for you. It can work. I wonder though, like at this, to us, podcasting is still new. Obviously, you guys got 52 episodes. And you're not been doing it for years upon years upon years. I'm just wondering in this near future if we will be able to make some decent money at it. You know what I mean? It's always a thought going in the head. Is it? I mean, obviously Joe Rogan has done really well. Meat Eater has done really well. I mean, I'm assuming Meat Eater is making some money on theirs. I wonder if it's viable for people up and comers to think, okay, this is going to be a great career.
Yeah, for us it's kind of different because we use it as another platform for what we currently already have in the Fishing Canada show and fishingcanada.com. But yeah, it's a great question. Whether people are looking to get into it as
it's popular as hell. That's
way
for sure.
of making. Yeah, but I don't know whether
might be too popular. So easy to get into, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, versus a fishing television show. To buy airtime alone is so expensive. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? So this way, it's pretty easy to get into. But I don't know. You never. Hopefully, the advertisers will see some kind of value in it and pay the boys at least. Maybe not us, but they'll pay the boys.
Tell folks that are listening or watching this what are some of the highlight episodes that you guys have done?
There's so many interesting ones that we've done. We try to keep it entertaining because we know a lot of people, they say that they listen to our podcast on the way to work or when they're going up on to, a fishing trip because we release it on the weekend. There's one episode that I found especially interesting that Andrew did about kind of like mythical beasts that possibly live in Ontario or in Canada. And he went through a bunch of random, myths or legends of sea monsters or different things that possibly you could run into when you're out fishing in Canada. So he goes in depth about a lot of these, and it was a funny episode. Really liked it.
I love. What's the name of that one? I'm gonna listen to it. What's the name of that one? Do you remember? Or what number?
I don't know off the top of my head, but
I'll look it up. I'll find out.
I think it's unbelievable fishing lore.
Yes,
okay.
Unbelievable fishing
and
lore.
there's actually 3 different episodes we did throughout about kind of similar subjects.
Cool.
Do you get into instructing people on how to fish? Maybe especially novice anglers. Do you do quite a bit of that?
Absolutely. We again trying to appeal to the average angler that's out there. And again, by a numbers game, the average guy isn't fishing 100 times out of the year or 60 times out of the year.
That's right.
They may go 4 or 5 times, and that's all they can manage with their schedule and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So we have some subjects where we talk about. We had one recently about. We always affectionately call them stupid baits, and just simple cast retrieve baits, stuff that or talking about Senko fishing or stick bait fishing, really simple techniques that they might not know about, the average angler, but something that's easy that they can use to improve in their quality. But we try and be informative as possible, sometimes about fish locations, where they're going to be, their movements, about their forage or habitat, a lot about different techniques, different baits that we enjoy. So it's kind of like Jesse says, it's all about our experience in the water because we're still learning every time we go out, and we also have been fishing for 20 years together. So it's we have some stories and experiences that we've been able to glean from as well.
I'm just thinking how you guys have pigeonholed yourself into a corner with the title of your show, much like we did originally with the Fish in Canada show. Because it's going to come to a point in time where you've been doing this long enough where you're not the average angler anymore, right? I mean, think about it. You can't be the average angler all your life.
Yeah.
Can you?
Well, I'll tell you this. I don't think that I will ever have the skills to beat some of these guys that are these Canadian guys fishing the tournaments and whatnot. So in comparison to some of the actual legit hammers that are out there, I'm sure I will always be average.
Okay, that's one good way to look at it.
I guess we're pretty average too, buddy, because those guys are hammers. Oh my God, I don't want to go head to head with them. That's for sure.
It's also good too because we do have a lot of guests on our show. We'll have guides on. We'll have owners of, like we just had on a guy that has a huge finesse bait company on our podcast a few weeks ago. So we try to have on people like, again, we're multi-species. We fish for a lot of things. Like our podcast we go through the year. It's like ice fishing, then we talk about steelhead fishing, then it's early spring pike, walleye, bass. We kind of go through the year. The episodes kind of pertain to what people are fishing for that time of year. But again, we're not experts on everything or anything. So we'll have guides on or guests that are more proficient on doing that so that we can also learn ourselves, which is great. So we have these guides that we're learning from, but it helps our audience too, because they're learning too as well. So it's good for the audience, but hey, like we're benefiting too. So that's awesome.
Absolutely.
What's nice is that you're hitting a demo that requires some focus and attention, and that is the up and coming younger anglers, which maybe people, I don't know, we might not appeal to because of our age group, but we need people like you that are, bang on when it comes to your age or what you represent. I think for that reason alone, I bestow upon you great success.
Absolutely. You know what? That's a good idea. I know. I had another one. I had another one earlier. I had Stevie. Now we got Kinger. These guys are all calling us during podcasts. What's the matter with these guys? Yeah, I think it's great. You guys, I think that when you add that word average in, I'm going to tell you right now, just from your fishing experience and seeing you guys on your Instagram and listening to you, you're above average. Okay. You're not the average guy, but I like the way you're portraying yourself as the average, because you don't want, hey, everybody, I'm Bobby Desra. or look at me. You don't want to be that guy either, right? So I think you're doing a great job of that, and you are going to recruit new anglers in. That's a good thing, or inexperienced anglers, or those 4 times a year anglers like that. Those are the people that need some education, and they might not go to the Bassmaster and look at all the stuff on there, you know what I mean? So good job, boys, for sure.
We interrupt this program to bring you the much anticipated bonus code for the latest Fishing Canada giveaways. This week's code is trolling. That's trolling. TROLLING, all caps. Just type that in the bonus code section of the contest and receive 100 free entries towards all our current giveaways. For those who haven't entered yet, what the heck are you waiting for? Head on over to fishingcanada.com while you listen to the rest of this episode. Click contests and sign up for all the latest Fishing Canada giveaways. And now, back to the show. I'd ask you, but it would be probably putting you in an uncomfortable position. What got you into it? Who were your mentors and or idols and or that moment in your life where you said, that's it. So I won't ask you that question because that's something we ask folks all the time. So let's...
You can. I'll give an honest answer.
Sure. Go ahead then.
So you're asking what got us into fishing?
Yes.
So for me, I grew up, the family vacation with us was going to the cottage up north or going interior camping. My dad liked to be away from crowds, from people. So that was our general summer vacation. So I always did fishing when I was there. My grandpa was into fishing, so we did that. And then when Jesse and I became friends, like I said, we fished a lot. So that passion grew when, I lived in Beaverton a lot of my childhood, and there's nothing to do there except be outdoors. So I fell in love with fishing.
Yeah.
And I tell you, and again, I said to be honest. So the Fishing Canada show, I would every Saturday morning, I would tape it because I had to work with my parents on the weekends. So every Saturday morning as a kid, I would be taping over the last week's episode of Fishing Canada show so I could come back and watch it the next time. So I had to learn how to do VHS machine work back in
Nice.
Back when I was younger.
That's cool.
That's fantastic to hear, man.
Jesse?
It's funny. Yeah, go ahead, Jess.
I was going to say, I've been fishing since I could walk. My dad would take me out. My dad was an avid stream trout angler. And actually, I grew up just down the road from Barclays, down in South Oshawa.
Wow.
So some of my earliest memories is my dad taking me to Barclays and watching the guys feed the fish in the fish tank.
Yeah.
Just throw a bunch of worms there. I was
cool.
like 5, 6 years old, and I absolutely loved that. And I think that's one of the things that just got me really into fishing. I started fishing. I remember some of the first lures that I ever bought. I remember watching one of your shows from probably the 90s. And you're using, I think, like a Zara spook or something. And that was one of the first lures I bought. I bought it at Barclays. I went there. I was like 10 years old. Didn't even know how to walk the dog or anything. And I was like to my dad, I need a Zara spook. And he's like, what is that? And I'm like, it's a topwater lure for bass. And I remember I went to Barclays and I bought it. And I still have it. A bunch of stuff. That really got me into fishing. I remember too, you used to have those huge sails. Remember that? They would be lined up all the way down Bloor Street.
The yard sales.
Yard sale.
Oh my God.
So to this day, I have never seen anything like it. I mean, it's
my God.
It was
insanity.
Magic.
It was insanity. Was it worth standing in that lineup in that cold April morning? Was it?
Yeah,
like, honestly?
sometimes it was. Yeah.
People don't.
We had nasty weather some of those
people
days.
listening to this that maybe are not familiar with what Jess is talking about. We had a sale at Barclays called the annual yard sale, and it started out where we would have to talk to all of the neighboring businesses on Bloor Street into letting us use their parking lot. That's the way it started because we didn't have enough room in ours. And then it evolved to having to pay them for their parking lot. Then it got to the point where we had to rent the GO Station parking lot, which was just down the street. And then we had to bring in buses that would bring people from the GO Station to the store.
That's right.
And bring them back again to their parking. So it turned into a phenomenal event. It was an event. It wasn't a sale. It was an event, and people from all over the place would come. A lot of American people would mark it off in their calendars. We had them from all over the country. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Absolutely outstanding. It's one of the things I miss most about the store. That and of course the tank that you alluded to.
That tank was so, even for us guys. Okay, people that come into the store. So people listening, they come into the store, and Angelo and Reno had this gigantic fish aquarium, and it was it's like Bass Pro Shops has the big aquariums like that. So, and it's great for the customers. But us being there every day, like before the store opens or when the store closed down, finally we kept the tank forever, and we always had fish in it. It was so interesting to watch those fish, to add a couple in and see what they're doing, the different types of fish, the way they feed, dropping goldfish in versus minnows in to feed these fish. That was an entertaining part of our careers, our growing up careers for sure. So it was very cool.
We experienced it just like you did as customers.
Yeah, in a different way. By the way, boys, when we finally got rid of the tank, we had acquired a catfish from Andy Pilata
called Bobby,
and it was about 30-something pounds when we got it. He brought it in a cooler, and he said, "You guys want this thing? You guys, I know you're the only guys in the aquarium." I don't even think he even told us about it. He just brought it and set it down, and it just to say, "You're going to kill it or you're going to keep it." So we said, "Yeah, put it in the tank." And when we finally had to shut her down, that catfish was almost 90 pounds. Wow. We weighed it. Yeah. It was friggin' massive. It was unbelievable.
It destroyed everything.
It was nasty.
How many other fish did it eat? Because I had a catfish for a while, and it eats everything.
Oh yeah, it took. We put two big smallmouth in, over 5 pounds each, and it killed them both instantly. We put them in there one time, and it just boom, we grabbed them and it just dropped them to the bottom, and boom, and grab it and drop the other one to the bottom. Just crushed it like vice with his jaws. Wow. Killed them.
Actually,
like 5-pounders.
We could hear it in the other part of the building when
hear
he
a
hit
thump.
the first one, right?
It was unreal. So, but anyways, go back. I think their story. Both Jess and Andrew had just talked about fishing with their dad, fishing with their grandfather, stuff like that. That is so huge, and I hope that's still going on out there with kids and parents nowadays. I know fishing might not be as
not as often as it should.
Right.
We can't help but remark when we talk to people, that are in their mid-30s, have a young family, and ask them about fishing, and do you fish? And they all, to a person, when we ask the father of the family, do you fish? They all say the same thing. No, it's funny. I used to fish. My dad took me out, and I used to fish a lot when I was a kid, but I don't do it anymore. And we ask the same question, well, why not? He said, I just can't find the time.
Time is,
They can't find the time.
And it's such a shame.
When in fact it should be, I don't make the time.
Yeah.
And that's the important part.
I mean, all four of us here talking right now, we've all had that experience with dads, and Dean for sure. We've all experienced, and that's just a huge part of your upbringing and a huge part of why you fish still to this day and hunt. You know what I mean? It's huge. I think so. Hopefully we can bring it back, and I think podcasts like we're doing here, I think can help. And maybe a dad can listen to that and say, it's here right now. He said, you know what? That's a great idea. I'm going to get Billy and Cindy out there fishing one day. So
and it's all it takes, right? As you guys know, it just takes that first time. It takes that big step. And once you do
catches that fish,
and that's what's nice about what you're talking and preaching, and that is basic fishing, shoreline, small tin boat. All canoes, kayaks, because that's generally where people have to start.
That's where it's at,
right?
Yep.
That's where it all begins, and that's what's wonderful about what messaging you're doing. It's fantastic. Keep it up.
Yeah, good on you, boys.
Speaking of Barclays, I have to that background you've got, Jess. That certainly is reminiscent of the store
somewhere.
I have a bit of an obsession with buying fishing stuff. Started at Barclays. It's your fault.
Oh, thank you.
And then, ever since I was 10 years old, I would save up my allowance and buy fishing lures. And, that was before the internet. So we were buying, fishing magazines. We were watching fishing shows on TV, and that was the way that you found out information. And now there's so much more. There's, social media and YouTube and all that stuff. But me and Andrew, we love lures, and I have this is my fishing room. I have a whole room just full of fishing stuff. But you guys must have a ton of stuff too. But
we collected a few over the day. Yeah.
We got a building full right here.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of old lures, I actually had a question for you, Angelo.
Yes.
The mouse lure.
Oh boy, here it goes again.
I've heard it mentioned in the podcast before. We don't need to go into whole thing. Yeah. I know the story about why it couldn't be produced. I get that.
Yeah.
But you have a few, I hear, left. And could I buy one off you?
I have a few, and if I said yes to you, it would cause a real problem. So I'm going to have to say no. We haven't given up on it completely, by the way. It still is a possibility that at some point, somehow, somewhere, we will find
do we
whatever
still
it
have
is.
the absolute original mow? We do have that?
Absolutely.
Wow. See, that one you can't sell. I mean, that's obviously there's no way you'd sell that one, right?
But we have so many different versions of them.
Oh, my God. Including the muskrat, that big, like a giant. And we never, I don't even think we tried it. Did we?
Nope.
Like it had the biggest
water.
hooks on it. I don't think you'd even get a hook into a mouth. These things were so big, but great looking musky bait, but I don't know if it worked or not. But.
No, thanks for asking, but no, I can't do that. Unfortunately.
I had to try.
Of course.
I don't blame you.
I don't blame you at all. What are you working on? What's the next sort of important milestone for you guys to hit?
So this whole time we really like the podcast is great. We do like making like video content. So this year we actually invested into getting a bunch of video cameras and a drone, bunch of stuff. So we're excited about that. It's going to be amazing.
Good work.
Hopefully I don't crash it. So we'll see what happens.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah.
Our guy crashes ours all the time. He's fine.
He's not even listening.
No, of course not.
For a guy that uses a jetpack, that's pretty embarrassing. Just kidding.
That's right.
True enough,
That's right. Actually, drones have changed the way the business looks and feels and operates, obviously. A lot of time is spent now in the air. A lot of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're excited because that was something that was kind of completely out of our price point like 10 years ago. And now it's like you can spend $500 and get a 4K filming drone for like $500 that, can fly 500 feet in the air. It's insane. So we're excited for that. We like to, be creative and have fun when we're fishing and obviously post it on social media and stuff. But we're excited for that because it's going to really open up some cool adventures that we normally have and we don't film because it's just inconvenient or we can't film it properly. But now that we have a drone and some extra cameras, it's going to be pretty fun. So
Good
I'm excited.
for you guys. I'll tell you one tip, boys. Audio is huge. Make sure you get good audio when you're recording. Don't use the shitty little audio out of a GoPro camera that's way far away and stuff like that. Make sure. Okay, there's a little tip for you.
We actually just bought 2 wireless mics, so yeah, we're set.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Use them. Like Pete said, it's key. Most people don't realize it. They spend time and effort on the visuals, and the audio is just crappy. You can get away with shitty visuals, honestly, if it's got good audio, but you can't do it in reverse because people just don't.
I have turned off some videos because it's like it's annoying to try and figure out what he's saying because it's not clear.
Yeah.
And yes, it's great content, but I agree. The audio has to be there.
There you go.
Gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Let's not be strangers. Let's make it more often. We certainly want to hear of anything that you do that's new and different and exciting. By all means, reach out and let's keep this relationship going. We wish you nothing but the best.
Absolutely.
And we'll continue telling
nothing but the second best.
Well,
let us.
Right,
we're going to say
I didn't want to say that
on a podcast. Sorry, boys.
We'll do our best not to outshine the best fishing show in the world.
There you go.
Boys. That's awesome. We appreciate it, boys. Thank you very much, and we'll talk to you soon, man. Tell folks quickly before you go, how do they get a hold of you? Where can they watch you, hear you? Give them all that good stuff.
So we're on Instagram, YouTube. You can find our podcast on any of the streaming services that you normally get your podcast on, Spotify, Apple, all that stuff. And it's all under Average Ontario Anglers.
That's it. Average Ontario Anglers. Thank you very much for being on the program. We'll talk to you soon, boys.
See you, boys.
Thank you very much.
Best of luck. That did remind me of the 80s,
and the
man.
good stories too. That's awesome. Yeah, that was great. Hey, you know what? I think they have great personalities. They have great deliveries. There's nothing but going up for them. I think they're going to do well. They
both speak extremely well. Which is really nice. Both very engaging, and that's what you need in this business.
They love the sport too.
They love the sport. I was going to ask them. We'll ask them next time we're on. Favorite species.
I know they do a lot of cold water stuff. I've seen a lot of steelhead stuff from them, and pike, a lot of pike stuff. They probably do everything, but there's a favorite in there.
Carp. Right?
You know what?
That'd be interesting because they're in the right age group.
And they're shore fishermen.
Shore
you know
fishermen.
what I mean?
Yeah.
You're allowed 3 rods now, Angelo.
Thank you, Mr. Ford, and all the group. At,
Come on now.
Ontario.
Hell yeah.
For that. And we haven't really kept up on that. I want to see. We'll have to start digging in and see how that's coming along.
I've heard of some people, they don't even want to use 3 because it gets confusing.
Well,
right?
yeah.
They'd rather use 2 than 3. But
I think it'd be more a tournament thing, like the big events, the global events.
Yep.
Anyways, that are it for us. Wonderful program. Want to thank both the boys for joining us on the average Ontario angler.
Come on now.
Forget that. For those of you, don't forget fishingcanada.com, the store, front door, back door, shop.fishingcanada or something.
Keep going. You almost had it. Do it again.
I have to open it. You don't make me on it.
Come on. Shop.fishingcanada.com.
I should have asked.
You had it.
I should have asked Jess and Andrew if they knew.
Oh, they know.
You figure?
They know the brand of underwear that you wear, buddy. Just to let you know, okay? They know everything about you.
Yes. Thanks once again for joining us. And all of you who subscribe, all of you who give us feedback, all of you who help us make this what it is today, a big thanks to you. Believe me, it's muchly appreciated from all of us here at Outdoor Journal Radio, the podcast, the entire crew. Vova reading the news from Ukraine back there. Dean Taylor on the board.
Come on now.
Very quiet Dean Taylor today, by the way.
Yeah, I try to be quiet in the interviews.
All right.
I know my place.
Good. My co-host, Peter Bowman.
We're probably allowed 4 microphones. You need to get in there.
On behalf of my co-host, Peter Bowman, I'm Angelo Viola. Thanks, folks. Talk to you soon.